Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 0 of the Not So Silent Film Podcast. Today, we're just going to be talking you through what our podcast is, what we're going to include, and who we are as people. So let's skip into it. So firstly, I'm Rosie Feminili. I am 21 and I love... Full stop. I just love... No, so when I'm thinking about what kind of films I'm like, I'm very torn as to a specific genre. My favourite films are Wes Anderson's 2009 Fantastic Mr. Fox, because I mean, it's gorgeous. It has a fun storyline. All the characters I find really enjoyable and are so great. I also used to really enjoy the book when I was younger, and I think that's another thing I really like about films is the nostalgia. So that's also why I'm quite a big fan of Harry Potter series. But again, that's nostalgic, and I really enjoy something that I can look back on, and I knew I used to really enjoy as a kid. Another favourite film of mine is Brad Bird's 2007 Ratatouille, because that's another stunner, I will say. Again, it has a really good storyline, but also it has a deeper meaning, which I like in animation films, is although they are technically made for kids, there's also a lot there that's directed at an adult, more mature audience, which I really, really enjoy. I'm a sucker as well for a franchise. I love Marvel. I think that there's so much there, and I love how the stories entwine, and that's just another great one for me. But saying all this, again, I really love teen, cringy, bad films. I love being able to laugh at a ridiculous film and enjoy analysing it of what they were trying to say, when most of the time it doesn't come across. But this doesn't mean I don't appreciate a deeper and darker film, because I really do. And to be honest, any film that I can get really super invested in is a big tick for me. I really, really enjoy.
Hello, my name is Samuel Hansen. I'm 25 years old, and you're probably going to hear Rosie and Antonio refer to me as Sam throughout our podcast. And y'all can refer to me as that as well. I don't really mind. And when it comes to films, I would like to think that I have a bit of an open mind. If I had to narrow down what type of films I usually gravitate towards, I'd say that I have seen more contemporary films rather than, for example, old Hollywood or classical Hollywood films. I am a big fan of films that are either very grounded in reality, that, for example, delve into all sorts of complex aspects of the quote-unquote human experience, or that are the exact opposite. I am, for example, a very big horror film buff, even the bad ones. I can be a sucker for a so bad it's good film, and the ones I watch would most likely fall under horror. Some of my favorite horror films, though, would include the Spanish film Wreck from 2007 and the films of directors such as Ari Aster, who directed Hereditary and Midsommar, and Robert Eggers, who directed The Witch and The Lighthouse. And other than that, I'd say some of my other favorite films that don't fall under horror necessarily, I'd say Climax by Gaspar Noé, Funny Games by Mikael Haneke, Departures from 2008 by Giorgio Takita, which is a name I probably butchered right now, I apologize. Festen or The Celebration by Thomas Winterberg, Short Bus by John Cameron Mitchell, and lastly, I have to mention one of my all-time favorite films, Weekend from 2011 by Andrew Hay. Okay, cool, that was probably a lot, but hopefully there's some sort of cohesion within that mess of amazing films.
And I'm Antonio Budd. I am 22 years old, and I am perhaps the most cynical of the group, as evidenced by my film taste. So to me, film is perhaps the most potent artistic medium when it comes to pushing boundaries, because be they stylistic, social, or narrative, this medium has provided artists with a renowned and downright revered platform for questioning the dominant ideologies and helping in unraveling and reforming them. As such, I am mostly fascinated by film currents ranging between the 1920s and the 1970s because of their stylistic advances and the way they have integrated themselves within the broader context of art, blending essentially architecture, fashion, literature, music, and several other fields. Particularly of note here are the currents of film noir of the 1940s and the 1950s, German expressionism of the 20s, and the new Hollywood of the 60s and the 70s, as well as some French poetic realism of the 30s sprinkled in there for fun. So the reason I find these so interesting and the reason why I'm so enamored with them is because of the way they don't shy away from the shortcomings of their contemporary political regimes and instead address these shortcomings. Some directly, some not so much, being very much affected by the propagandistic expectations of their times. But in any case, they do allow for a lot of depth. So it doesn't really sound appealing when you put it like that, but they do make you work for it and make you engage with them in certain unique ways, which always makes them so rewarding to watch. Some of my favorite film directors include Billy Wilder, Fritz Lang, Jean Renoir, Ida Lupino, Fellini, and Erich von Stroheim, while some of my favorite films are Night in the City, They Shoot Horses, Don't They?, The 7-Year Itch, Network, 8½, Metropolis, and my all-time favorite, Sunset Boulevard. Old Hollywood stars as well, like Bette Davis, Marilyn Monroe, Montgomery Clift, Burt Lancaster, are also a constant object of fascination and admiration for me, and it is always incredible to see them at work. I think there is a lot to learn from yesterday, which will definitely help you tomorrow. So the three of us met while doing our bachelor's degrees in drama and film at the University of Sussex, starting in 2017, which is a long time ago now, and we've come a long way. But this is basically what our passion is, and we found the same passion, the same drive within each other, albeit with very different tastes and guises. But we used to do this anyway, dive critically into films and taking turns doing so. So we thought this would be a very good outlet to explore that again and to reignite, perhaps the wrong word since it never really died, it just kind of got stifled by us graduating, but to reignite those passions that united us to begin with.
And we haven't seen each other in almost a year.
I hate it.
Due to the pandemic.
This is quality time. Is quality time.
So in this podcast, you will see that we're going to be talking about some films from our three very different perspectives. It's going to be more of an analysis, would you guys say?
Yeah, sure. I think so. I think that's what we're striving for.
An analysis into these films. So join along with us, listen in with us. If you disagree with us, that's absolutely fine. Film is subjective. You can like what we like, you can dislike what we dislike, or you can completely disagree with us altogether. Either or, it's fine. We're just having a conversation.
And also, if you do have some feedback in terms of the content as well of the episode, if you think the structure doesn't really work, then you are more than welcome to reach out to us at the Not So Silent Film Podcast Instagram page.
In terms of spoilers, we will try our best to avoid it for the most part, but I do think we include at least a spoiler alert when we do get into deeper territory.
Mm-hmm.
So if you hear the word spoiler alert and you don't want it spoiled, just skip a little bit ahead because we might delve into it a little bit further than you like. But yeah.
So if you like any of the things that we have talked about or that we have set out to talk about, follow us on Instagram at the Not So Silent Film Podcast and tune in because there's a lot to be discussed about this wonderful medium that we call film.
Oh. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.